Be the authority in your life. That's what I'd like to talk about today. So, do you give away your power and authority to others? So, why specifically do you actually do that? So, I'm actually going to come up with a couple of reasons or ideas that maybe to start with and to consider brainstorming for yourself. So it could be that in the past you haven't thought that you were smart enough, that other people have put you down because you haven't said the right thing or an intelligent thing. What other areas? So it could be also that you've given your power and authority away to people at your work who actually hold a higher position than you. Or it could just be in life in general, people who have a higher standing in your mind in society. The other thing is also a really important area to look at is parental issues and also teacher issues. So have parents and teachers had authority over you in the past and not encouraged you in any way to speak your truth and speak up? I know some families allow open debate in their families, but I know when I was growing up, and it was just the way it was in different families, that we really had to, we were taught respect, so you respect your elders. So when I went to university, had no idea how to actually argue my point of view because the person who I was reading the research on, they had more knowledge and more power. So how could I go against their ideas and arguments? So that was actually quite challenging. It's been a work in progress over the last 20, 30 years for me. So an example where I actually came up against authority was when I was first diagnosed with breast cancer, and I went to the surgeon and I was given a really scary menu. So I was told I had to have a lumpectomy, and I had to have chemotherapy, I had to have radiation, and then while I was under, I had to get some lymph nodes taken out, and then I had to have 5 years of hormone therapy. So that was actually quite a scary thought for me. But this lady, this doctor, surgeon, was really adamant it had to be done straight away, otherwise my life was in jeopardy, and it had to be done and organised within 3 days of the meeting that I had with her. So I went away feeling, I'm really actually thankful that my mother came along and helped me and was great support for me. And I actually, there was a lot at stake for me because I'm a single mother with 2 teenage children. I really had to consider my future health and my ability to work down the track. So I wasn't really sure whether this was going to impact me in any way. So I went away and I did lots and lots of research on the topic, and I made the decision that it was really important that I actually stood in my truth and I was willing to take the path. And because I kept reading and seeing, there were a couple of people that my mentors now who would say that you do have, time is actually on your side, whereas I didn't think I did after I visited the surgeon. So I allowed myself to research like crazy, and I became an authority in my life, and it really felt right with the research I was doing. And I didn't just jump on the bandwagon and go, well, one person has suggested this, so I'm going to go and try it. I was really making sure, and I did a lot of research, and if there were common themes that came up, then I chose, okay, that issue's coming up or that solution's coming up a lot, I'll choose that solution. So that's how I slowly became an authority in my life. And I did have some authoritarian people in my life, and I understand because they were quite scared for me, but I kept having to say and stand in my power and say, well, you're not me. I really acknowledge and respect the information you're giving me, and I'll take it on board, but you're not me. You don't live in my body, and you don't live in my soul and my spirit and mind. So thanks for the suggestions, but on some occasions I said that doesn't actually feel right for me. So that in itself was really empowering to actually say that. So how do we become an authority in our life? Well, that was one way. So standing in your power and just, rather than aggressively, but just say in a very polite way that thanks for that, I'll consider it, and I'll see whether that feels right for me. And I found that worked really well, actually. And another time I had an authoritarian figure who tried to say something to me, and I actually said, I'm a really spiritual person, and that actually I'm tuning in and it really doesn't feel right for me. And that was actually really successful. Another way to do it is, learning to listen to your intuition, which I just mentioned. Listening to the signs also that your body tells you. So if something doesn't feel right, you might notice your neck tightening up or your belly feeling really tight. That's another really important indicator to actually consider as well. And then that's another thing I wanted to say is don't allow yourself to be belittled by others. So just because you don't think you're smart enough or you've got enough knowledge in that area or haven't done enough research, don't allow yourself to be feeling lesser than these authority figures. So there's a few ideas that I thought I'd put out there today. So let me know how you may have experienced in the past to be the authority of your life, or whether that's going to be of any value to you. I'd love to hear your feedback.